I'm having more fun in my life now than I think I've ever had. I'm enjoying America more now than I've ever enjoyed it. Every day. I don't even know what it is. I think, you know what, I think it's, you enjoy a place differently when it might be ending, you know? It just has like a different feeling to it. It's just like, what does that taste? The final season? Because you never know with America. You really never know. Every day is the best day and possibly the last day. I'm having an amazing time. I truly am. This year was such a blessing because I got to travel around the world doing shows in places I'd never performed before, places I've always wanted to do comedy. I've always wanted to try it out. You know, did shows in Berlin, Germany, for the first time ever. That was really amazing. I won't lie, people freaked me out. People freaked me out before I went there. Like similar to Detroit, you know, when people are like, oh, watch out, Detroit, watch out, Detroit. You know, like people were like that with Germany as well. Like when I was going to Berlin, people were like, dude, Germany? Do they laugh? I'm like, what do you mean? They're human beings. Like, I don't know, man. Do they laugh? People got to me. There was a point when I was heading to Germany where I was like, maybe Germans just sit in the audience like, aha, yeah, aha. That was a comedy show. But they don't. They laugh. They're actually great audiences. I had an amazing time in Berlin. It's a city that sneaks up on you because it's so culturally diverse. You know, it has a burgeoning art scene, you know, fantastic music. The history in Berlin is truly deep and rich. You know, I love traveling and seeing places whenever I'm in certain cities. And in Berlin, I went out with like a tour group, and I had a great time, but I wish someone had warned me how painful a lot of like Berlin's history is. Right? Because that was basically the headquarters of the Nazi party. So like everything ties back to Hitler. I didn't know this. I thought we were going on like a cute little tour. I ask a lot of questions. I'm curious. This brought the mood down. Yeah, we're out and about. The tour guide was doing his shtick. He was happy as well. He was like, you know, here behind me you can see this is one of the largest airports that was ever built in the world. Yeah, it is a world famous airport here in Berlin, and it is so large that they filmed the Hollywood movie, The Hunger Games, inside this airport. Yeah? Any questions? And I was like, yeah, wow, how old is this thing? He's like, this is almost 100 years old. I'm like, damn, and like who built it? Yeah, that is the unfortunate part of the story. This airport was built by Hitler. I could see I'd messed things up. I tried to bring the mood up. I was like, which Hitler? He's like, which Hitler? Which other Hitler is there? I was like, could be Henry Hitler. Henry Hitler? Who the hell is Henry Hitler? I was like, you don't know Henry Hitler? It didn't work. Like, yo, man. It was tense, but it was good. And what I mean by good is it was nice to be in a place where people don't bury their history. You know? And what I mean by that, is that, like, when you travel through Germany, even if you don't go to museums, you cannot escape the past of both Berlin and what Germany did. You know, there are monuments scattered throughout the city, prominent monuments. They're memorializing what Germany did to millions of Jewish people and millions of other people around the world. You see it, you understand it, they talk about it. You know, they teach their kids about it. They teach children in school. They're like, hey, this is what Germany did. They make sure they know. But they don't make them feel guilty about it, which is a pretty amazing balance for them to strike, you know? They'll say to the kids, they're like, hey, kids, I hope you understand. Germany did this. You're not responsible because you weren't there. However, because you're the future of Germany, it's your responsibility to make sure this doesn't happen again. You know what I loved about being in Germany when they were talking about their history is how forthright they are about it. You know, they know it's painful, they know that it's a terrible blight on who they are, but they don't hide from it. Like when I saw them doing this, I was like, man, I wish America did this with history. You know, because you ever see how awkward it is speaking about history in America? It gets tense. Doesn't matter what history it is, it gets tense. You know, Columbus Day is one of those days. Every year in New York, there's a fight. Every year. Here in Detroit, there was a fight. There was a bust of Christopher Columbus that was around for 110 years. At some point, half of Detroit was like, we need to get rid of it. The other half was like, no, don't get rid of it. It was a huge fight. New York, same thing, every year. Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day. Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day. Yeah, there was an interview on the news I saw once. It wasn't supposed to be funny, but I found it funny. The reporter went up to some guy and was like, sir, what are you going to be doing for Indigenous Peoples Day? And he was like, let me tell you something, it's Columbus Day. I'm sick and tired of people coming in and changing the name. We're proud of that day. It's Christopher Columbus. It's Columbus Day. It's not going to change. In fact, how would you feel if somebody came along, took something that's been around for a long time, and just decided to switch it and call it something else, huh? How would you feel? I was like, but sir, isn't that the spirit of Columbus Day? I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of Indigenous Peoples Day, the title. I don't like. I think it's a cop-out. I don't think it's specific enough. It's lazy. You know, Indigenous Peoples Day. Which Indigenous people? Where? How? Give me something, you know? You know what I liked about Columbus Day? Is that it was specific. Yeah. It was a specific, inspiring story of a man by the name Christopher Columbus, who believed against all odds that he could sail the wrong way around the world and get to India from the other side. Nobody believed in him. Yeah. He was like, I'm gonna do this. They were like, you can't do it, Chris. And he was like, I'm gonna do it. They're like, you can't do it, Chris. He's like, I'm gonna do it. They're like, you can't do it, Chris. And he raised money. He fought for years. He finally got the ships and he sailed the wrong way around the world and he didn't do it. Not only did he not land on the other side of India, he found himself in a place called the Caribbean, and he was like, this is India. And the people there were like, I don't know if you've been eating some of the herb we've been leaving about, but this is totally not India. And they're like, this is India, and you guys are Indians. They're like, brother, we are not Indians. He's like, I know Indians when I don't see them. You're Indians. You're just on the far side, so you're West Indians. And he stuck with it. Christopher Columbus stuck with it his entire life. Other explorers would come to him, they'd be like, yo, Chris, I don't think you made it to India. He's like, it's India. They're like, I don't think it's India. He's like, it's India. He died refusing to acknowledge the possibility that he never made it to India. Not only that, my friends, he never set foot in America. Ever. Ever. And yet, he had a public holiday named after him in America. That, my friends, is the inspiring story of how white men can fail up. You know how much confidence you have to pull that off? Nobody else. That is white man confidence. Nobody else possesses that level of confidence. Go the wrong way, end up in the wrong place, call the wrong people the wrong name, and be like, I'm right, give me a holiday. No one else can do that. That is the level of confidence we should all aspire to. Is white man levels of confidence. Women couldn't pull that off. You think any woman should be like, I'm gonna sail the wrong way around the earth? They'd be like, burn her, she's a witch. You think people of color could have pulled that off? You think black people could pull that off? Wow, really? Black people's gonna sail around the world wrong way around? get to the place they're not supposed to be, probably get arrested for trespassing. Be like, what are you doing here? Be like, man, my bad, man. I thought I was getting to India, man. My bad, man. I apologize. Man, I don't even know what I was thinking, man. You know what, man? We should have never messed with ships. It never turns out good, man. I apologize, man. This won't happen again. Why would you want to bury your history? So much joy, there's so much to learn. You know? It feels like America's moving in that direction. You know, it wants less and less of its history, wants less and less context. You look what's happening with textbooks. Places like Florida, they want to ban textbooks or cut out the parts of the textbooks that have slavery in the books. And now parents are fighting. They're like, oh, no, take the slavery out. It's making the kids feel bad. And other parents are like, keep the slavery in. It's teaching the children. And these parents are fighting back and forth. I'm like, why? What you don't need to be fighting about. No one should be fighting about this. Kids don't read textbooks. They watch TikTok. If you want to get to the kids, that's where you gotta be. There was slavery. Ships came. Yeah, they... I'll be honest, I don't think that textbook thing is like a real issue. I feel like it's one of those manufactured issues that often happens in America that gets people riled up and gets them fired up, fighting about something that was never an issue to begin with, you know? And the reason I say this is because that's honestly what I believe. I feel like in America, politicians have done a really good job of tricking Americans into fighting about issues that were never an issue to begin with, so that you don't pay attention to the issues that actually are. You know? If they can get you fighting about what's in a textbook, you don't pay attention to the fact that inflation is out of control. You don't pay attention to the fact that rents are out of control. People cannot afford to live anywhere. Your salaries have never kept up with inflation. Corporations steal billions and billions of dollars from their employees with no ramifications. You don't pay attention to any of that. You pay attention to what's catchy. It's easy to keep up with. It keeps you going. You know? Ooh, can trans people use public bathrooms? Ooh. It's manufactured. Who was actually dealing with this issue? And I mean this, honestly. Who was actually dealing with this issue? You know what they did? Some politician out there figured out. They go, here's a small story affecting a few people in a random place. I'm gonna make it seem like this is a nationwide issue. And then everyone starts fighting about it. But who? Who was really dealing with it? Huh? Who of you here has ever been in a situation where you were in a bathroom and all of a sudden a skirmish broke out and you heard people being like, excuse me, is this the gender that you were born with? Does it coincide with the sign on the door? Is your genitalia matching this? Can I see it? Right? Who's ever seen that? Nobody. Nobody. But they make us fight about it because it's catchy. Who can use which bathroom? Who cares? Who cares? I mean it. Who cares? I know someone will be like, oh, but trans people care. They want to know if they can use a public bathroom. Yeah, use whichever bathroom you want. Who's going to stop you? No, seriously, it's a public toilet. Who is going to stop you? You tell me who's going to enforce that law. We can't even enforce the idea that people should shit into the toilet. But you think magically they're gonna figure out if you were born this way? Use whichever one you want. Why are we wasting our time? Other people are like, oh, we're gonna fight because you gotta know who's using. Let me tell you something. If you are spending enough time to know the genitalia of the other people in a public bathroom, you're the creep. I'm worried about you. There is a simple rule to every public toilet around the world, and that rule is you get in, you pay no attention to anyone else, you hold your breath, and you get out. You're standing around staring at other people. Like every man in this room knows, when we use the toilet, what do? We get in. Public toilet, you stare dead ahead. You pee, you do your thing. You do not look to either side. If you're fidgety, you look up, you look down. You do not look at anyone else. The guy next to you could start choking. You don't turn your head, you don't shake, you don't move. You hear him like, you be like, hey man, hey,
Hey, you all right? Yo. Hey, man, you okay? Yo, you want me to call? Hey, man, are you okay? Yo, you want me to call? Don't look at me! What are we doing? What are we fighting about? Public bathrooms. And if you know your history, you'll know this happens all the time in America. It happens over and over and over again. There was a time when women had to fight to use public bathrooms in America. Imagine that. There was literally a time when women weren't allowed to use public bathrooms all across America, and they had to fight. And there were men who were angry. They're like, this is crazy. You're gonna have women in public bathrooms? That's insane. How does it work? Huh? What, they're gonna come in there while we're peeing? And then what, they're gonna look at our wieners? Huh? And they're gonna laugh? Huh? Think about this, ladies. There was a time when women were first allowed to step into the workplace where there were no public bathrooms that they could use. So ladies, if you were out and about back then, you needed to pee, you needed to poo, you had to go home. Yeah, and I say poo theoretically, I don't know if you actually do. No, I don't think any guy does, let's be honest. We don't. Like, we assume this on a biological level, but I don't know for certain that any woman actually... In fact, any man in here, I don't, like, think of any woman in your life. Do you know the last time she pooed? I don't think you know. I don't think you know. There is no forensic evidence to back up that claim. There is no smell. There is no stain. There is no nothing. And ladies, I don't know who's doing your bathroom PR, but they're doing a stellar job. Stellar job. Women go to the bathroom, smells better when they come out of it. How? You never know when a lady's pooing, never. Because also, women keep the same amount of time. That's the most impressive thing. You give nothing away. Yeah, a woman's gonna go pee, it takes 10 minutes. She goes to the bathroom, right? Gets there, tinkle, 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 comes out, washes her hand, powders her face, texts on the phone a bit, comes back to the table. You have no clue. Yeah, she's gonna go poo, same thing, 10 minutes. Goes to the bathroom, does a thing, pellets, comes back out, wash her hands, powder the nose, text her friends, get back out there. You have no clue. With men, you know exactly what we're doing. Discretion is not our forte. You know when every single man is gonna go pee. Why? 2 minutes. Off to the bathroom, we're in there. Quickest thing ever. It's like a NASCAR pit stop. Yeah, we get in, we pee, we come back out, act like we're washing our hands, and we're back. How do you know when we're gonna take a dump? Because it's obvious. We go to the bathroom, never come back. That's the last time you'll ever see us. Your family's putting up wanted posters in the restaurant. Have you seen this man? Imagine, people were fighting about bathrooms. This every time in America, every time. There was a time when black people had to fight to use public bathrooms. Huh? Same thing. Black people were like, why can we not use public bathrooms? And again, people were angry. This is crazy. You're gonna have black people in the public bathroom? How does that even work, huh? So what, they're gonna be standing there while I'm peeing, huh? And they're gonna be looking at my wiener, huh? And they're gonna laugh, huh? Yo, I'm old enough to remember when there was a discussion in America about whether gay people could use public bathrooms. This was an actual topic of discussion. I remember seeing people on the news being interviewed. They'd be like, do you think that gay men should be allowed into the same bathrooms as straight men? I'd be like, look, I don't mind what they do. If they keep it to themselves, that's fine. But like, just answer me this. How's it gonna work, huh? So what, you're in the bathroom with them and then what? Like he's gay and I'm just standing there and I'm peeing, huh? And he's looking at my wiener, huh? And then he grabs it, huh? And he starts yanking on it, huh? He just starts tugging away and I get hard and I'm enjoying it, huh? And then this is one of the best experiences I've ever had, huh? And then I start coming back weekly, hoping I'll bump into him, and I do, huh? And then at some point we agree to meet outside a nice little restaurant that's cozy and get to know each other, huh? And then a few years later we get married and our families are joined and we live happily ever after, huh? Is that what you want? Why? Public bathrooms. That's why you shouldn't bury your history. Yeah, because if you know it's happened, you know what to predict. You understand why it happened in the first place. Germany does that in a truly astounding way. Look, it's not perfect. It'll never be perfect. But Germany is one of the only countries in the world that has actively paid reparations for what they did. One of the only countries in the world that has actively apologized. And one of the only countries in the world that's set about changing how they see themselves and how the world sees them. After World War II, Germany changed a bunch of laws. They changed the iconography of the country, what you could hang, where you could hang it. They changed their national anthem. Yeah. Imagine that, they changed the national anthem. They felt that the national anthem was a nationalist song that the Nazis used to inspire people to think the wrong things, and they changed it. The original song was a song called Deutschland, Deutschland über alles. And you've probably heard it like in old movies or whatever. The song went like, Deutschland, Deutschland, über alles auf der Welt. And translated into English, it means, Germany, Germany, over everything in the world. And clearly they meant it. Yeah. Where most anthems are theoretical, Germans are precise. But after World War II, they were like, we can't have that same attitude. And so they changed the anthem. They had new lyrics. The new lyrics are, Einigkeit und Rechts und Freiheit für das deutsche Vaterland. Which translated into English is, unity and rights and freedom for all the people who live in Germany. Which is adorable. It's adorable. I mean, they may as well have made the song, sorry, sorry, we're so sorry. Sorry, sorry, sorry for what we did. I appreciate that they did it, but I wouldn't have gone that far. No, I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't have gone that far. I think Über alles is terrible. That's not a good way to think. But you still gotta have a bit of kick in your anthem, you know? You still gotta have like a, you know? Yeah, I would have found like a middle ground. Mine would have been like, Deutschland, Deutschland, irgendwo in den Top 5. Nicht über alles auf der Welt. Because we are definitely in the top 5 when you think about it. America's number 1, and then you have Great Britain, and then you have France and Spain, and then we are at number 4. Well, actually, Spain is not better than us, so we are number 4. Number 4 in the, oh yeah, but France, their economy is not that strong, so maybe we are number 3 in the world, then you have England above, oh wait, oh, Brexit was not a smart idea, so maybe we are number 2 and America is number, oh, their elections are not that stable, so then maybe we are über alles auf der Welt! It's been a good week. It's been a crazy week. Oh my goodness. Like, I thought the week was just going to be about comedy in London. And then Israel and Iran happened. And then we were on like the brink of like World War III. Like you here are now Friday crowd having fun. Monday, Tuesday crowd. Whew. Yeah. You try tell jokes when there's missiles outside. Like everyone was here like... Because that would be a weird way, like, to be, you know what I mean? Like, at the beginning of World War III. Like, people are like, where were you? And you're like, well, did you see what happened? No, I didn't. Where were you? Trevor was telling us about Brixton. It was such an insane story as well. Like, now I feel like the world we live in, I sometimes think about like parallel universes and timelines, and I'm not sure if I believe it, but when I do think about it, I go like, I think we somehow slipped into the ludicrous timeline. Like, we were all in a very normal timeline, us as people, and then something happened around like COVID, and then we went into the crazy timeline, and then the other versions of us are now like, wow, things have become very boring and normal. Because like, this is not normal. you know? Like the week starts off, it's been like 2 weeks technically. Right, starts off, Iran was negotiating a nuclear deal with America. Negotiating a deal. They're making progress. They're getting close. They're getting super close. And then Israel was like, no deal. And then Israel started launching missiles at Iran, right? And then it's hard to make a deal when it's like missiles hitting you, you know what I mean? It's like when you're like trying to break up with someone at a restaurant and then the waiter keeps coming, is everything great? Just wait. Let me just handle. So what I'm saying is, how's everything going? Yeah. Look, hey, we'll call you. We'll call you, please. So Iran was like, all right, I can't. And so then Iran was like, missiles back at Israel, missiles. And then Israel was like, missiles. And then Iran was like, missiles. And it was going back and forth. Israel was definitely winning it because like Iran has missiles, but not like Israel's type of missiles. You know what I mean? Like Iran doesn't have much money and stuff. So their missiles are like those cheap fireworks your friends. You know when your parents they'd feel bad. You'd be like, what are we doing for Guy Fawkes Day? And then your parents would be like, do you want these ones? You're like, do you like them? They're like, no, just throw them on the ground. I was like, pat. Do you feel like the other kids? No, I don't at all. So Iran has those ones, and then they were launching back and forth. And the whole world was like, man, this again, Middle East conflict, Middle East. And then at the peak of it, everyone was like, man, how could this get worse? Donald Trump was like, hello. And Donald Trump came in and he was like, I'm gonna help. I'm gonna totally de-escalate this situation. And we were like, my man, you've never de-escalated a thing in your life. From your hair to your politics, nothing is a de-escalation. Nothing. But Trump came in and he's like, I don't like how Iran and Israel are launching bombs at each other all the time. So many bombs, we can't have this, it's not right. Too many bombs, we gotta stop it. No more bombs, we gotta stop it, we gotta fix it. And they're like, all right, how are you gonna fix it? He's like, by dropping bombs. I'm gonna drop bombs. And no one expected it. Like the whole world was like, okay, Trump is gonna mediate or because he said to them, hey guys, let's sort this out, peace deal. We're gonna do a peace deal. And then he dropped bombs on Iran. And everyone in the world was like, what the hell? And a lot of people in my life were like, oh man, I can't believe that Trump did this. I can't believe. And they were so stressed. And I was like, yes, but look on the bright side. And they were like, what bright side? I was like, on the bright side, Trump also can't believe that he did this. Like that's the one glimmer of hope that I get from Donald Trump is that like he also doesn't know what he's doing. He's in it with us, which is a nice change. Oftentimes we're at the mercy of those in power, but he's in the mercy with us. Like we're all locked in a prison cell, but he's holding the key and he's like, we're all trapped. What are we gonna do? We're like, use the key. What are you talking about? And the reason I say this is because Trump came out and he hosted a press conference about it. It was so wild. He hosted a press conference about dropping the bombs. And he was shocked in the press conference. He came out and he's like, earlier today, the United States military, that's us, launched missiles, bunker busters, launched missiles on Iran, on all their nuclear facilities. And boy, you don't understand. You've never seen bombs like that before. They came down and they dropped them, those bombs. I couldn't believe what those bombs were doing. I couldn't believe it. And I called. I'm the one who called. I said, drop the bomb. I didn't know I was gonna call. I said 2 weeks. I told everybody 2 weeks. It was gonna be 2 weeks. And then I was on the plane. Then I said, I'm calling. Drop the bombs. And the bombs were dropped. I'd never seen bombs like that. I said, whoa, we're never dropping bombs like that again. I never seen bombs like that. Those bombs were dropped and now it's over. We're all good. And so now because America had dropped bombs on them, then Iran had to respond, but then Iran didn't want to get into a fight. No one wants to get into a fight with America, you know what I mean? And so like Iran was like, we are going to retaliate against you. And then they launched missiles at an American base in Qatar, but then they phoned America first. They did. They were like, all right, we are launching bombs against you in like 45 minutes, an hour maybe. You tell us. How long you need? Then we'll launch the bombs. And then the Americans cleared out their base and everything important, and then the bombs fell. And then Trump, very, like, in an interesting way, he responded to Iran. Then he wrote on his, like, thing online, on his profile, he was like, "Thank you to Iran for giving us notice about the bombs. Now it's over. It's all over. There will be peace." And then he said, "Iran, Israel, peace." And they were like, "All right, peace, peace, peace. All good." Then Trump went to sleep. And in the 4 hours that he was sleeping, Israel, like out of nowhere, they came and they were like, "Iran launched more missiles." And then everyone was like, "Wait, what missiles?" And Israel was like, "You launched missiles." And everyone was like, "No, And then Israel was like, "Too late, we're coming for you with more bombs." And then the world was like, "What?" And then Trump woke up. And this was the moment when I can safely say I have felt more connected to Donald Trump than I've ever in my entire life. Because that man is not a normal human being. Very seldom have I looked at Trump and thought, yeah, I can relate to this. But he came out after Israel was about to launch a full-scale bombing attack on Iran. And he came out, he heard about this. Man didn't even put on a tie. Came out of the White House half-dressed, ran straight into reporters, and he went into it. He was like, "I heard about what Iran is doing and what Israel is doing. And let me tell you, I'm angry at Iran, but I'm more angry at Israel. They said peace, and I said we're going to do peace, and they're launching, and I'm sick of them. Israel, you better not do it. You don't do it, Israel. I said peace. You don't do it." He looked like a dad who had kids that were fighting in the backyard. And he was just going back and forth. He's just like, "Israel, shut up, baby. Come on, shut up. Sit up. How many times do you have to tell your kids that you're not going to? I told you once and I'll tell you again." And then he looked at the reporter and he did something I've never seen an American president do in my entire life. He cursed live on TV into the camera. Looked at the camera and he was like, they were like, "What do you think, Mr.?" He's like, "I'll tell you what this is. You've got two countries that have been fighting so long, they don't know what the they're doing." You're like, "Oh, Dad is mad." Dad is mad. And I don't know what was crazier, the fact that he cursed on live TV as an American president, or the fact that that somehow became bigger news than the actual bombs that were dropped. The bombs was like half a day of news. The biggest bombs ever dropped on a country randomly out of war was barely any news. And then Trump came out and he swore every news outlet, Guardian, BBC, Al Jazeera, CNN, you name, all of them, Trump curses, Trump swears, Trump says F word, F word. And I was like, damn, so the F bomb was more important than the bomb. Everyone on TV, we've never seen this before. We've never seen an American president curse on national television. This has never, I don't even understand what we're seeing right now. Donald Trump, and I must warn sensitive viewers, yo, you showed footage of cities being leveled by bombs. You said it just casually. Let me show you some of the bombs that were dropped here. Let me show you some of the bombs. All right, now, Trump said something. I must warn you, if you have children in the room, you might want to cover their ears. You might want to cover their ears because he said the F-bomb. Like, people cared more about the words than it was the wildest thing. Wildest thing. I can't believe it. They were doing it as if the people in Iran were just like, yeah, no. The bombs are one thing. But what he said. You can take bombs back, but words are forever. Oh, man. I think we treated Joe Biden like shit. Like, people just treated Joe Biden like absolute trash, and for what? Nothing. Not the man just got old. That's literally all he's guilty of. He got old. And people, they were like, "Oh my God, have you seen Joe Biden these days? He's so old." You're like, yeah. That's what happens. You get older as a person. I can't believe how old he is. I'm like, yo, when you voted for him, it's not like he was 20.
People make it seem like he pulled like a magic trick and then all of a sudden flipped into an old man. He came in as an old man, and then now he was a slightly older man, and people are like, oh my God, I can't believe him. Why does he think he can be president? Because you told him he could. People were so shitty to Joe Biden. Then they were just like pulling at strings. I mean, like, God, you see the other day he forgot. He like forgot where he was. He said the wrong city. He said water dam. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, people do that all the time, especially when you're older. Yeah, because think of it this way. It's not even about like old as in your brain is like, is degrading. Think about how much information you have consumed by that point in your life. Think about how many names you've heard, how many places you've been, how many stories. Of course some things are going to get jumbled up. It's like, yeah, the person's old. He was just old. That's all Joe Biden is. He's old. He'd be like, yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. It's not that. My grandmother, my grandfather, they would forget or switch my name with my siblings' names all the time. I'm sure you had that. Right? They're just like, my grandmother, sometimes she'd be like, Andrew. And I'll be like, no, Trevor. And she'd be like, Yeah, when she did that, there was no point where I was like, she needs to step down. She's not fit to be my grandmother anymore. We treat old people like such shit in society. It's like we make it like they're disposable. It's like, you're old. All right, get out of the way. You're old now. It's over. He just got old. Yeah, and yes, the things that he did, obviously, they don't make you comfortable. Don't get me wrong. Like, they'll throw you off. So, for instance, one of the big ones was he was at the G20, right? And he was introducing President Zelensky of Ukraine. And then he said,
it gives me a lot of pleasure to introduce to you right now the president of one of the most powerful presidents. I'm honored to introduce Vladimir Putin. Oh, no, I mean,
and people are like, no, Joe, he's not fit to run this country. And I was like, yeah, he made a mistake. Think about how many times he says Putin, how many times he says... It's not like he said like a random... It's not like he was like, Idi Amin. No. He said, I get it, Putin, you know what I mean? Yeah, that can happen to you. It's a brain fart. And then people said the dumbest thing. Someone said to me, they were like, well, Trevor, what if it gets into a situation where he does something really bad? Like he could make a mistake like that and he could bomb the wrong country. I was like, do you know how countries work? What do you mean he could bomb the wrong country? What, you think just Joe Biden's there with the keys to the jet? And he's just like, I gotta pop out and do something real quick. I gotta fly to Eastern Europe. And he's like, take that, Ukraine. No! I meant Russia! You know how much bureaucracy exists between Joe Biden and a country being bombed? Like, if he said, we gotta bomb Ukraine, they'd be like, you mean Russia? He'd be like, oh yeah, I mean Russia, of course. It's not like it just happens. It's not a thing. We treated him like such trash. He's like an old man, trying to fight for his country. That's all he was doing. And here's the thing, forget the politics. It was just like the old thing that was like, I was like, why are we doing this, man? The guy's just old. He's not as sharp as he used to be. That's life. It's going to happen to all of us, hopefully. If you get there, it'll happen to you. I'm like, Joe Biden, trash. And look, I will be fair and I will be honest. I think what didn't help was that his team didn't acknowledge that he was getting older. I don't think that helps. And that is a problem I have with like a lot of American political spin. They try and tell you that what you're seeing is not what you're seeing. So like Joe Biden he'd be like, and then people would be like, yo, he's getting older. And then his team would be like, Joe Biden is not getting older at all. In fact, he's younger than he's ever been. We're like, that's not how numbers work. The man is just getting older and older and older. Just say, yes, he's old. Just say he's old. Because, he was making some mistakes. One of the ones that, one of the big ones that threw people off was he would repeatedly bring up world leaders that he had recently had a conversation with, which is fine. The only issue was that those world leaders had long been dead. And that would throw people off, He'd be up there and he'd be like,
I just had a conversation the other day with Chancellor Olaf. And people were like, Chancellor Olaf died 30 years ago. And they were like, oh no. Oh no, Joe Biden, oh no. And everyone's like, he's senile, he's got dementia, oh no, oh no, oh no. I understand why people thought that. I also should let you know, full disclosure, so we're completely honest in this room. I am biased, okay? I'm biased because I've met Joe Biden. I met him at an event called the White House Correspondents' Dinner, okay? And this event, you're there, the president is there. Because of the security and everything, you have to get there well ahead of time. So you spend time, you get to meet the president, you have a long conversation with him and the first lady, and then later on in the evening, you have another conversation, then after that, you have another conversation, and then after the event, you have another conversation. So in the span of like 5-6 hours, I got to speak to Joe Biden frequently. And I have nothing to gain from telling you this. The man's not running for president or anything. He's done. He's fully corpus mentis. He was with it. You know, slight speech impediment, yes, but otherwise he was with it. You know, he could recall information, he kept up with the conversation, he was with me, he was lucid. It was fine. Do you know what I mean? Like, he would talk to me, he's like, hey, Trevor, you know, another thing in the country, and the things I dream for as Americans, and you do that thing, and it was fine. It's not like he talked to me, and then like 3 hours later came back, and he was like, Jackie Robinson! That didn't happen. You know? So I don't know, I'll be honest, I have a different theory. I think, I don't think Joe Biden has dementia. I don't think he's senile. I just think Joe Biden is old. But I think he's so old that he can communicate with the other side. We don't consider that. But he's basically in that space between. That should have been their campaign, actually. Yeah, instead of saying he's not old, they should have doubled down. They should be like, you're damn right Joe Biden's old. He's the oldest president this country's ever had, and you should be grateful. Who better to protect the Constitution than someone who was there when they were writing it? But now he's out. Now he's out. And I'll be honest, I'm happy for him. I'm happy that Joe Biden gets to go out like this. I think, again, as an old person, you should have a dignified end. You know, I think we've robbed old people of that in society. You know, capitalism and whatever. It's like, no, it's nice to, like, you go, you've lived your life, you've done your thing, relax now, you know? And Joe Biden feels more relaxed. I don't know if you've seen him recently. He just has, like, a different swag to him now. He just, you know? Yeah, it just feels like someone, like, loosened up the joints, you know? Because, like, before, when you saw Joe Biden, he was a little precarious, you know? When you see him, like, walk, he didn't, like, inspire confidence. Like, he like, stumbly, and, you know, he always looked like a late-stage Jenga tower. Like, you know? Which is probably why the Secret Service wasn't so good at protecting Trump or him. Like, it's just, like, in their defense, they've been protecting geriatrics for the past decade. Of course, they're not in practice. You know, like when they're protecting young presidents, they're like, all right, everybody, look out for the shooter. Look out, because the danger's up. That's where you gotta look. You gotta look up there. You gotta look. When you're protecting old people, you're just like, all right, look at the ground. Where's the stairs? Where's the stairs? Where's the stairs? Look out, Mr. President. There's a dog that's shot here. Hold on, hold on. Come on, come on. He's got a different story. Joe Biden's got he's got a vibe now, man. The other day he was at it was like a little, not a rally, it was just a meeting with like a community somewhere. Some were Biden supporters, some weren't. He's just walking around greeting everyone. Hey, how you doing over there? Good to see you. How you doing? How you doing? And there's a guy sitting wearing a Trump hat, right? Wearing a Trump hat. And Joe Biden comes like, hey, how you doing? How you doing, man? And he's like, I don't like you. And Joe Biden's like, oh yeah, I don't like you either. And I was like, oh, who's this guy? Who's this guy? He's like, oh yeah, I don't like you either. I don't like you. He's like, you're old. He's like, oh, you want to talk? Look at you, you're old. And he just started like trading with this guy. Back, wasn't presidential. He wasn't like, oh, well, I see why you feel. He's like, nah, man, you old as shit. Look at your face. Like, goddamn. He's like, you old. You're just old. I'm old and I'm president, bitch. He just had like a different like vibe to him. You're like, what? What? And the guy was wearing a Trump hat, and then he said something to Biden, something along those lines. He's like, yeah, that hat. And Joe Biden's like, come on, wear my hat. And he's like, no. He's like, would you wear this one? And Joe Biden's like, yeah, I'll wear your hat. Give me the hat. And he takes the hat, and he puts the Trump hat on. And he's like, yeah. And that guy, you should have seen that guy's face. He was like, wah.
Because he thought maybe like Biden would like burn or something. I don't know. Just turned to, he was like, "Wah!" He's like, "I like you a lot more now." And then Joe Biden just walked away. He just had like his swag. He's like, "All right, man, I see you, man." I'm happy for him. That's how everyone deserves to leave, you know? It's nice. And now it means he's out of it, but we're in it. You know, now the world, everyone in the world, because America's elections are the world's elections. You know, now see what happens. Now it's Kamala Harris instead. Yeah, that's good. Oh, is it a woo? Is it a woo for you? Okay. Wait. But what does it mean? What is it woo like I'm excited or woo it's gonna happen?
It's happening.
It's happening. Damn, look at you. All right, where do you live? Phoenix. Oh, damn, okay, Arizona's important. Oh no, Arizona's important. Because if you said like New York, I'd be like, rah. But if you say you're feeling it and it's in Phoenix, okay. Because Kamala Harris is not gonna be easy. I hope everyone understands that. You know, America has not shown itself to have a propensity to voting for new things. It really has not. And this is very new. Very, very new. You know, because Kamala Harris is a woman. Yes. And she's black. And Indian. Yeah. Now you realize Obama was level 1. America was so proud of itself. Thought it had clocked the game. That was the easiest level in the game. It was like Mario Brothers level 1. It was like, let's do this thing. Blip, 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 whoop, Hawaii, blip, 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 whoop, Hussein, blip, 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 whoop, Kenya, blip, 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 kruk, 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 yes we can, blip, 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 blip. I was like, yeah, we did it, we did it, we did it, yeah, woo! And then Kamala Harris stepped up, and then it was like blub 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 blub. Blub 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 blub. Blub 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 blub. Oh man. Oh man. You guys have been so much fun, man. Thanks for coming out tonight. I had a great time with all of you. Good night, y'all.
One more time, man. Show some love, man. Trevor Noah.